Okay, starting over. All right. So, Tom, thank you so much for agreeing to participate in this project of mine. It's been a really, really great experience for me to set up these sessions. This is the fourth one in a series of featuring drummers that I know personally or have recorded with. And then mysteriously, the sideman fell into place. So this was really, I met Gary at the Grove and wrote this tune. I was like, yeah, this could really work for Gary. And then I was like, okay, Jimmy, yeah, Jimmy would be cool. And it was all kind of the bohemian thing, And then I met you a few times,
Right.
playing with Neil's band up
Right.
at Tim Hall's place.
Right.
And I was like, okay, Tom would be really, really cool to have. So I appreciate you agreeing to it.
Oh, my pleasure.
So I wanted to ask you about your career a little bit. I know I don't know if you were a founding member of Steely Dan or
No,
but you played on Asia
I played on Asia and Gaucho.
and Gaucho. So
Yes.
you were like
And arranged. I arranged all
and
the
you
horns
arranged a lot
on
of
Asia.
horns. Exactly. So for me, Steely Dan was just a revelation. When I heard it the first time, I was like, this is the coolness of jazz with pop music.
With whatever the hell else they're
whatever
doing.
the hell else. It was just like interesting, and it was the production of it was just so well amazing. The attention to detail in these productions was just really stunning for me. It's like it was clean and clear, and there's like no note wasted, or in other words, every note had a purpose. And I heard about the drummers that they went through like a ton of drummers for like one track, and
Drummers, guitar players,
everybody,
keyboard players, yeah,
until they found just the right sound. And
which I never understood.
yeah,
I watched them track the tune Asia, although I'm not on it. That's got that marvelous Wayne Shorter tenor solo.
yeah, exactly.
But I watched them track that tune at the studio,
Uh-huh.
and they must have done it 5-6 times.
Yeah.
And I thought, take one was really good. I mean, I'm not sure what they were looking for. However, I will say about them, regardless of their excessive, specific needs that they feel, the records, especially Gaucho, especially Asia.
Mhm.
Asia seems timeless. There's a lot of records I played on, according to AllMusic.com. I played on over 2,000 records. I know, right?
It's huge.
Doesn't seem possible, but somehow I survived that. But there are a lot of tunes that I played on over the years where I sort of, it has a decade or a period of music associated with it. Asia is timeless. In addition to being great, amazing lyrics, amazing production, all that, but it just doesn't seem to age.
The drum solo, classic.
Oh, please.
Every drummer is kind of like the trumpet solo of "In the Mood." You have to know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to know it. So every drummer needs to know that drum solo.
Yeah, of course.
So what do you think about? Oh, I wanted to ask you. There's a certain amount of, I don't want to call it sterile or slickness in those Steely Dan productions that a lot of people are turned off by it. It's just like flawless. Where is the dirt? Did that ever bother you?
No, not a bit.
Not a bit.
I accept it. That's part of their MO. That's the way they
Yeah.
make records. And some like it loose,
Mhm.
and they are not among them.
They're not among them. Okay, no, I was curious about that.
No, you got to look. You got to accept. I'm there as a kind of a team player, right?
Mhm.
To help in any way that I can to enhance the record, anything I
Yeah.
can do. So I've got to accept whatever premises that exist before I
Yeah.
walk in the door.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
that's my job.
Yeah. True. So you always lived here in LA?
I was born at Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital. My parents met when they both worked at NBC Radio in the 40s. My dad was a composer of television, and he had over 700 credits when he passed for
Wow.
old TV shows like Lassie and Dragnet, Twilight Zone, Laramie, My Three Sons.
So does that trickle down into your bank account still?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
It's tapered off somewhat.
Yeah.
But it did for a while, between me and my sister.
Well, you're definitely an integral part of the West Coast sound, I think. as a saxophone player, you've really contributed to the West Coast sound that we know. I mean, I grew up listening to, El Giro, Shaka Khan, all that West Coast stuff, and you were on many of those records, and
It's true.
and that's why I'm so honored to have you in the studio.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure, honestly.
So can you talk about like maybe your top 3 recordings?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a tough
That
one.
you
Well, you
played.
got to count Asia. I mean,
Gotta-
you've got to
hey.
count it, right? I would say that working with Joni Mitchell on Court and Spark, which I was there from the beginning to end. I did all the. Actually, I had worked on an album prior to that with her by myself called For the Roses, a beautiful album. But what I realized was that Joni had never played with a full band all at once before. Court and Spark was the very first time. And I developed a wonderful relationship with her professionally on For the Roses. And once the LA Express, my band with Joe Sample, Larry Carlton, Max Bennett, John Guerin, and myself started to like bubble up here at the Baked Potato, basically in North Hollywood, where we were born, so to speak. She came in one night, and I said, "Hey, Joni, great to see you." And she says to me, "Listen, I'd like to do my next album with a band." I said, "Great. Do you think your band would be interested?" Well,
Yeah.
think it over. I think we could work it out, which we did.
Yeah.
So I did all the master rhythm parts,
Yeah.
and we had kind of supervised the session, and it turned out to be, I still believe, one of her best, and certainly I think it's her best-selling record. So that's 2. The third one, oh my God, what would that be?
Out of 2,000 recordings, man.
Yeah, that's a toughie. I mean,
Joe Sample, one of my all-time favorites.
oh please, Joe Sample was
That's
an awesome musician.
fabulous.
I adored him. I guess I got. I'll give you one that not many people know, but because in 1968, when I was 20, maybe 21, I got in the band of Oliver Nelson, a tremendous jazz composer arranger, and my participation in his live recording in a club in Los Angeles led to me being signed by Bob Thiel of Impulse Records to a solo deal. But then I was on Oliver Nelson's kind of list, of sidemen. So the very, very shortly after that, I got a call to do a big band session for Thelonious Monk. It's called Blue Monk. Oliver Nelson band, big band accompanying Thelonious Monk. And I got to say, although there's many more I could quote,
Amen.
that was it. Just to be in the same room with those two guys.
Huge.
Iconic, jazz.
Huge.
That was great.
Yeah, well, talking about Oliver Nelson, I mean, he moved from New York, right,
You did?
to the West Coast.
That's right.
And became very successful as a writer and composer / arranger.
Right.
Made some good money, I think.
Well, he did. He worked himself to death, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because he was doing $6 Million Man every week.
Yeah.
And insisting on writing everything out. He didn't get any orchestration help or anything.
It was all.
And so the scores. There's a lot of notes, and he would have to do one of those a week. And one day, this is a very tragic story, but now that we're on the subject, because I miss him to this day. He was such a wonderful influence, such an inspiring musician. But he did one of those sessions after many episodes, into the season, and there was a morning session, and apparently he'd been up, and of course he did drink a lot, which probably didn't help.
Yeah.
But he went home after that session and laid down and passed away.
Hey, man, not a bad way to go.
Well, I suppose. Way too early, though. That's the only thing.
How old was he?
Mid-40s,
Oh my
I
God,
think.
I had no
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, I mean, in the presence of greatness here,
Yeah.
and like I said, you contributed so much to not just the West Coast style, but also to like how the saxophone, the alto saxophone, particularly, I think. Would you consider that your main axe? or more
No,
tenor?
probably. I mean, to me, I love playing alto.
Yeah.
But for others, I usually mostly tenor.
Yeah. No, I know you as more as an alto player.
Well,
than
great.
a tenor.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, my
Appreciate
friend.
it. Okay.
Steffen, pleasure.
Okay. Pleasure was all mine.